What's up, everybody? It's Jonathan from LoneWolfDayTrading, and it wasn't such a good day today. I made some rookie mistakes. I truly did. I can make all the excuses in the world. I truly could, but at the end of the day, my account's not going to change no matter how many excuses I make. I was really pissed off earlier. I really was. Me and Mr. Kitty, we really got into it. But I'm good now. And, I'm just fighting to really make it to the next trading day. That's really what it's all about. So there's really not too much to be said. Other than that, let's get into the video. All right, so the market is just open. I'm looking at PCG right now. It looks like it's starting to spike up a little bit. This is one that I traded yesterday. It's down a good amount. It does have bad news. So if it were to break the VWAP, get closer to the previous day's low, I'll definitely be more inclined to trade it. Right now, it looks like it's touching the VWAP. It's starting to move back down. Not so much of a pullback that I'd like. I'd like to see a little bit more before I actually start to get into it, build a position. Okay, so beautiful. We actually just spiked up. Still going. I'm actually going to change my market type, load my montage. I have 100 shares right now. I'm looking for it to touch the top of this candle. Okay, a little bit faster of a pullback than I was expecting. Hopefully it pulls back up so I can actually get, the position that I'd like. Okay, we're still going down. Well, okay. Looking at AXSM, I'm not really trying to short that. PCG, hopefully it pulls back up for me. It does have a lot of good momentum, but see how it reacts here. Okay, so here we go. We're moving back up. It's touching that 17 whole dollar. It could possibly hold it down. Okay, well, I missed that entry. Oh, that would have been beautiful. That would have been beautiful. Especially getting it. I mean, that's already a dollar movement. I would have had dollar movement, but you're not going to win them all, and that's just the thing you have to remember. You're not going to win, and you're not going to enter every trade that you would like to. Unfortunately, it would have been a beautiful movement right there, a dollar within the first minute stock. Okay, so PCG is starting to move back on us. We're getting somewhat of a pullback. Now it's touching the VWAP, and it's moving below the moving average. Now if I get confirmation that it wants to stay below this moving average and the VWAP is going to hold it down, I'll feel more comfortable with jumping in with a small position of 100 shares. So just watching it very closely, watching the time and sales, and of course the level 2. So we're going up, we're touching the VWAP. I just want it to move below the moving average, and there we go. All right, so I have 100 shares in, average cost $16.26. Not the best. I mean, I would love to get it above the $17 hold number. Looking at the previous day's low, it still does have room to move, but again, with that first candle, it basically filled the gap, and that would have been a beautiful entry point, but I missed it. Right now, my stop loss is actually probably going to be the high of day. I'm risking about $100. 100 shares, $100. Now, if I do get a quick spike of some sort, I could add to the position, just depending how it looks like at that time. Now, right now, the stock is actually held between the VWAP and the moving average. When this occurs, it's either going to spike up or it's going to spike down. Now, of course, with that movement, these two are going to cross. When the VWAP and the moving average, like I mentioned yesterday, when they cross, something always occurs. So that's something I want to, definitely keep in the back of my head. Just, if these two cross, what's actually going to occur? It looks like we're getting somewhat of a short squeeze here. Looks like time and sales is definitely turning green, but, the level 2 isn't changing too much. So it looks like we hit that 1650 of the high right there on the previous candle. Now it looks like the half dollar is holding it down. We'll see how it reacts when it touches the moving average. Now, if it were to form a bottom wicking candle, we definitely want to be a little more concerned. Now, I see 1631 is definitely creating a seller wall. So 1631 is something that I know is now a sign of support. If it were to break that 31, more than likely it's going to break that moving average. And in return, if it breaks that, the VWAP and the moving average are going to cross. It should give us a good momentum downward. Still keeping a close eye on it. Looks like we're getting a good spike here. You know, it's actually not that bad of a spike. I have 100 shares in montage. Just keep an eye on it. Let it touch the top of the candle. Still going a little bit more. Get confirmation that it's going to go down on us, not forming a bull candle. Okay, I'm going to short here. I just add to my position 200 shares. Looks like we're breaking through. We hit that 1631 again. If we broke through, it could possibly be a really good break in our favor. The time of sales are going crazy right now, but it still just wants to bounce off of that. Now, the VWAP and the moving average are very close to cross. This is definitely imperative stage right here. Looking at the highs on these two candles, it's a double top. We're coming back down. Have 200 shares, average cost 1640. Keep a close eye on it, see if it's going to break this point right here. I'm going to put 100 shares in my montage for a partial if it does, and it just did. And I just took my partial of 100. I just realized $18.50. Can't complain. It's a small account. Still have 100 shares. My average cost is 1640. All right, so I still have 100 shares. The 1 minute candles, it's starting to move up a little bit. Looking at the 5 minute candles, it's starting to form somewhat of a triangle or a wedge, I guess you could say. So it still does have a lot of selling pressure, and that's the thing that's keeping me in this trade. All right, so I still have the 100 shares. We're still stuck between the VWAP and the moving average. You know, I don't want it to go too much against me, but if it does break this VWAP, I have an idea that it's going to hopefully keep on going down. I'm actually going to change my montage to 200 shares. We're just stuck right here. It is down for the day. It's closed the gap in the first 1 minute candle. I'm going to go ahead and add to my position. Now I have 300 shares. Average cost $16.47. So I'm only down about $5 or 5 cents right now. Can't complain. If it breaks this VWAP, I have an idea that it will continue to go down, and that's truly what I'm looking for right now. Now we are getting a few spikes up. But it's not shaking me out yet, just because that's been the high for a lot of these candles. And again, the moving average is holding this stock down. So just watching the time and sales, watching the level 2 is very important. Looking at the 5 minute chart, we're kind of going sideways right now, but I believe there is a possibility for that VWAP and moving average. If they were to cross, it would go into my favor. As we can see on the 5 minute chart, I mean, they're basically right beside each other. So with a break, I have a feeling that there would be more momentum that would follow it. But of course, it could always go against me, and that's something that I have to keep in mind as well. See how high this actually wants to go. Looks like we're touching on the second 5 minute candle. We're touching that. Now, if we do get a wick down, that would be great. If it wants to continue to push upward, I'm definitely going to get out of the trade. I don't want this to go. Okay, and then we just got the push upward. It's really hard to get out on a spiking candle like this. I want some type of pullback to confirm that this is going to keep on running on me. Now, of course, it does cross the high of day. I'm definitely getting out of the trade. I'm just not even going to mess with that. Okay, and we're spiking up to 17. All right, we're about to touch the high of day. Alright, we're getting somewhat of a wicking candle. Go ahead, I'll put 200 shares in my montage. Alright, I'm not sure what this wants to do. I'm going to get out 250 shares. It could possibly break the high of day. It is forming a bull candle right here. Or I possibly could have made a mistake by getting out of the trade. Still have 50 shares though. Okay, I'm getting out of the trade. It just broke the high of day. Alright, so we're actually getting a lot of selling pressure on this one wicking candle. I possibly could have made a huge mistake of getting out of the trade. Just because it broke the high of day within basically one candle. We're getting a huge selling amount right here. I possibly could have prematurely gotten out of the trade. But I don't want this to turn into a revenge trade. I'm still watching it, see if it's going to break the 17 whole dollar. And also if it does move down to the moving average, is it going to break the moving average? Now if it did break the moving average, that means the moving average is going to move down, get closer to the VWAP, and they're going to cross. And it could possibly just shoot down for me. Looking back at AXSM, it's going up, but you know, nothing too wild there. Looking at PCG again. Okay, so it's moving down to the moving average, set to market. Now, if it were to break this moving average, there's definitely a good possibility it could continue to go down. I definitely hope it's not turning into a revenge trade. That's never a good thing. But just watching it closely, just to see. Now, I'm actually just going to fill out my montage. Put 200 shares in there. Now, 200 shares, if I were to enter the trade here, I'm risking about $100. So it's still a very small amount. Look and see if it's going to break this moving average. Looking at the previous low. Okay, and it just broke it. I'm actually going to go short it right here. 200 shares, average cost $16.95. Okay, I don't like where this next candle formed. I still have the 200 shares. You know, unrealized down about $12, which, you know, is really nothing when it comes to trading. But with a small account challenge, you know, $12 is a lot. So I'm trying to keep that in the back of my mind. You know, with the larger account, you know, $12 is nothing. You know, if I lost $12, even if I lost $100, $200, you know, it's really nothing. But with this small account, you know, it's a lot of money, and I'm trying to keep that in the back of my head, you know, not just brushing off losers. So I'm currently down about $193 on the day. Looking at the high of these two candles, it didn't touch the high of the previous candle, but you know, I do have my stop set at the high of day, but the more I look at it, it's just starting to go sideways, and it's starting to build a healthy gain. If it breaks above 17, okay, I'm actually going to take 100 shares there. Set 100 back in it, and I'm just going to get out of the trade completely. I'm not trying to mess with this thing anymore. It's not worth it. We go ahead and take a look. I'm down about $180 in my small account. PCG was really just a different stock today. I mean, there was truly just a lot of selling pressure, even hidden pressure. The time in sales, as you saw, I mean, it was just lightning with green. But it still wasn't moving, and it was moving down much quicker than it was up. Even though you're looking at the time in sales, you're looking at the level 2, you see the buyers, you see the bid, you see the ask. There's still hidden support within there. Depending on the broker or however someone's using, their orders aren't always going to populate in there. There are brokers that allow you to hide your bid and your ask, and the orders, like your actual trades. You know, that's why it's called hidden support, or you know, however. So I didn't trade the best. I truly didn't. I'm very disappointed in myself, as always. I mean, no one's more disappointed in me than I am. And, you know, making this video is definitely one of the harder things. No one ever wants to lose at something. I mean, especially more competitive people. I believe traders in general are just more competitive, more hard-headed. But that's just, I believe, how the breed is, because, you know, as a day trader, you're going against what society wants you to do. You know, society says go get your degree, you know, work here for, you know, 100 years or so. But, you know, we're going against what society wants us to do. And with that, hard-headedness is definitely going to be there, because we're basically saying we'll do what we want to do. And that's definitely can be the enemy as far as when I'm trading and I'm down. Like you saw, it was more like a revenge trade in my second trade. Definitely a rookie mistake. I can definitely admit that. But, you know, I didn't want to... It's always hard to accept a loss. It truly is, you know. But one thing I am proud of is the second trade I took. I didn't really up my share size. I didn't change it to 500 shares or 1,000 shares to make back the money. I truly saw an opportunity of it breaking through the moving average. Only put 200 shares in the montage, and I kept my stop very close. So instead of letting it go up to the high of day, I cut it much quicker. it did eventually break a new high a day. I saw actually going back into it, looking at how PCG moved after it got out of the trade. It broke a new high, but you know, I definitely not very proud of it. But I have to be straight up with, you know, how much I'm making in the account. Mr. Kitty, he looks excited, but he's actually in shock. You know, it breaks my heart. He can't believe it either. So, you know, I'm excited about what will come for tomorrow. There's definitely some stocks I'm looking at. Some are that are very overextended on the daily. And if they're down in the pre-market, those are the ones I'm definitely going to target for. I truly hope everyone had a great day. Thank you so much for reviewing this. I do apologize. I'm going a little bit longer than I normally do. But I believe this just needs to be said. So, you know, I'm going to be back at it tomorrow, of course. And I'm looking forward to what the day has. So, this is Mr. Kitty and Jonathan with Lone Wolf Day Trading. And stay green.